Hi, everyone. Welcome to another special live chat. Today, we're catching up with a talented singer who has previously joined us to share his passion and journey through music, Keeran Eshwarlall. Since our last conversation, there have been new experiences, new inspiration, and exciting developments. Today, we're finding out what's changed, how Keeran has grown up as an artist, and what lies ahead. Keeran, welcome back. It's fantastic to have you with us again. How are you?
Thank you very much. Fantastic to be back. Nice to have a catch up after a long time.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we were just chatting off air, and I think we kind of estimated it's been a year.
Yeah, it's been almost a year, and a lot has happened in a year. So much of change in the industry, so many new trends. But good, some good and some bad. But otherwise,
Yeah,
everything is geared towards the progression of something new, anyways. So there will always be new things happening in the industry for sure.
yeah. Kieran, since our last conversation, what has been the biggest change or development in your musical journey?
In my musical journey, I spent a lot of time recently. Going back to basics. That is, as artists, sometimes the artists of my era, we've kind of had to put the cart before the horse before, where we were performing and recording and doing all sorts of live performances and tours and travels and being so engrossed and so heavily booked back in the day that we didn't have time to really focus on our own personal development as musicians and our musical ability. In other words, there are a lot of musicians out there that have recorded, reached recording level and performing level and traveling and touring level without fully understanding what they were doing as well. They were able to do it, but in terms of if you said to them, "Can you explain to me how you sing this and how you sing that and what rag this is and what chord this is, what key," and they probably tell you, "No, I don't know. I rely on the other band members to tell me what key to sing in," that kind of thing. So a lot of us didn't have the opportunity to be able to sit down and actually learn or understand what we are doing, although we are doing it. You know. So I've been one of those people that had to. I was self-taught. Obviously, when you teach yourself, it means you don't have a teacher as such.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot of things in my early days wrong, you know, and then went out and performed and recorded and did all the tours and traveling and whatnot. And then as time went by and you start meeting people who are knowledgeable, you start to realize, hang on, there are some things that I'm doing wrong, or they point it out to you and say, listen, there's some things that you're doing wrong. You need to correct this, that, and the other. So I then went through a renaissance of my own personal renaissance where I then had to unlearn everything that I've learned wrong and relearn everything the correct way. So I have a good understanding of what's wrong and what's right, the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things. That's why now, like when I teach my students, I'm able to see what they are doing wrong and say to them, listen, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is how to do it correctly. So, in terms of my personal development, in terms of what I've been doing, getting up to recently, it was going back to basics where I've I've selected things where I know myself personally, and you know where your faults are, you know where your weak points are, and I started focusing on that, and then more especially to do with vocaling and not so much my harmonium playing as such. My harmonium playing has always been more advanced you know than I am. I've always been ahead in terms of because I can pick up a tune quickly, I work out an interlude quickly. I can work out a song very quickly. All of that. So in terms of where I am as an instrument player, I'm very confident with that there. But in terms of my vocaling, I've picked up flaws in my own vocaling, and this is where doing the Facebook Live videos. I do a Facebook Live program every Tuesdays, uh, which is a bhajan program called Bhakti Ras. Um, and then I also do a chilling out on Sunday evenings. I do a chilling out with Keeran Eshwarlall program where I sing all the audience. Whoever's tuned in, give me a song, I'll sing it for you. That kind of thing. So in watching those videos back is where I picked up, hang on, I've got some weak spots here and there. So what I've done is now I'm in that. in another renaissance period. We are now picking on the weak spots and focusing on them and getting them right. And it's been amazing. It's been really, really amazing because they are very subtle things. But you know, when we talk to knowledgeable musicians overseas, like I've been interacting with a lot of people from India who are knowledgeable in the industry, and when I've sung before some music directors on a recent trip to India, and for the littlest of things that I did, they'll go, wah, 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 kya baat, you know, that kind of thing. And then I realized, hang on, there is simplicity. There is a lot of value in the simplicity of things.
Mm.
You can do elaborate things, you know, you can do fantastically elaborate things, but they're not interested in that. They're interested in the basics and how you execute the simpler things. That's where the value lies. So if you take 10 simple things, you can make one complicated thing out of it. But the key thing is to make sure that those 10 segments that you have to put together has to be perfect for each one in order for all of them to work. You know, so that's basically where I am to answer your question.
That's really fascinating. Have there been any new songs, performances, collaborations, or opportunities recently that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, there's in terms of songs, well, music is cyclic. You know, what tends to happen is um, if you look at the Bollywood industry at the moment, right? There's nothing new. What they are
Mm.
doing is they're recycling old songs. So almost every song that's coming out in Bollywood now, that's supposedly a hit, is a remake of a song that was recorded before
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
60s and 70s by people like Kishore Kumar, Mohammed Rafi, and Manade, and that kind of thing. So music is cyclic. So what they're doing is they're basically recycling what is there. Right? For me, yes, the what's new for me is there is a new wave of, because I'm involved so heavily in the devotional field. There's a new wave of bhajan singers that are coming out now, and in beautiful styles, beautiful their own signature styles. Some are coming out as ballad style bhajan singers. Some are doing more romantic bhajans. Some are doing philosophical bhajans. Um, so what that now offers for us as devotional artists uh, is it's a new dawn, new era. It's new talent and younger people. Remember, the industry as it stands is dominated by the elder folks, the our seniors in the industry, like Anuj Jolota, Anuradha Podwal, and they are aging now. You know, they are. I mean, Anuj is 73 now. Um,
Ah,
so you know, you got to ask yourself. Pankaj Das passed on at 70. Jagjit Singh passed on at 70. Anuj Jolota is still around at 73, still performing, still so busy. He's all over the world. Anuradha Porwal is also, she's performing so much. Jaswinder Narula, they are all busy artists, even though they are old. You know? But they are also, the nice thing about it is that they are promoting new talent
mm,
and letting the industry now broaden up to newer people coming in to take over after them. Unlike the Bollywood industry, it's sadly to say that the Bollywood industry, those that are dominating want to stay in the dominant position. They don't want to allow new people to come in. And, you know, if you watch programs like Saregama and Indian Idol and stuff like that, those winners that come out, where are they after? Do you see them anywhere? Do you hear them anywhere? Do they do shows anywhere? It's for a short season that they will probably be touring in parts of India. Some of them may come to South Africa, and then thereafter you don't hear them. What happened to them? You know, we still go back to listening to the same artists that we've been listening to all of these years. And then now, with media and social media and sensationalism taking over the industry, and all an artist needs to do is say the wrong or say something that is interpreted in the wrong way. Like
mm,
recently, when I say recently, about a year, maybe 2 years back, Sonu Nigam made a comment about the azan at 5 o'clock
mm.
in the morning. Why? Why? We are living in an age of technology where people can have apps that can wake you up at 5 in the morning and say, right, it's time for you to pray, you know, that kind of thing. Why are we still having loudspeakers right next to my ears? And I must conform to your religious beliefs. and I must accept your religious beliefs. But if we sing the arti, you'll close the door. You're shocked.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying? So he had a point in what you're saying, but the problem is it was so badly misrepresented by some members
mm,
of the press and other activists in the community, uh, stating that he's taking. But if technology has taken over everything else, then why not allow technology to be a part of religious practice? When we go to satsangs today, now we're having online satsang. When I do an online satsang, there's no audience in front of me. You know, I'm singing to a camera. Whoever's watching is watching. You know.
mm.
So if we're embracing technology in this manner, and this is why I do a program on Tuesday called Bhakti Ras, which is a bhajan program. And the primary aim of that program it's geared towards those that are unable to attend satsang in the areas wherever they live. Because we generally tend to look when we move to a new area, we want to find out where the satsang group is so you can go to service on a Tuesday or Friday or whenever it is. Now, with the world with safety being an issue, traveling after dark being an issue, working late being an issue. Some people work from home, others don't work from. Others still have to travel to work. They still have to come home, see to the families or whatever, and get ready and be at satsang at 6:30. It's very hard, So a lot of people don't attend satsang because they're unable to for those reasons. Whether it's no satsang group in the area, it's too far, it's not safe. It doesn't tie up with their social commitments to their family or that kind of thing. So therefore, I do a satsang program on a Tuesday starting at 8 p.m. It gives you enough time to do everything you need to do. And then it starts at 8 p.m. and it's live on Facebook. So you can use it, you can watch it on your device, put it on your TV, play it in your car as you're driving home or whatever it is. So you have a chance to have satsang still in the comfort of your own zone. So that's why I do Bhakti Ras on Tuesdays. That allows people that unable to attend satsang to be able to enjoy a satsang program. Uh, Anyways.
Awesome. How has your sound and musical identity evolved since we last spoke?
Very interesting because what I've started to do now is, like I said, I was going back to basics, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm focusing a lot on bringing back the bhajans of the era, when I first started 35 years ago, right? Bringing that and now tying that in with sort of bringing back the popularity of those kind of songs. So it's bhajans and ghazals, oldie, even the golden oldie film songs, the songs of the era of the 70s and 80s and 90s were just fantastic. It was pure music, before technology took over. In the mid 90s, everything, orchestras that used to record, there used to be a 52-piece orchestra recording a film song. Uh, Now it's down to one guy with a keyboard. And if he needs a tabla or dolak player, they'll bring a tabla and dolak player in, and they use technology to double up because normally in any Bollywood song, there's always like four dolaks and two tablas playing together. So if they need that sort of setup, then they will bring in the dolak players and tabla players just for that recording session, and they only need them for maybe 2 bars. You know, they'll record them, and then they will loop this and continue. Using technology to make up the whole song. So that's what is happening. So in terms of how my music has changed, is that I'm bringing back the popularity of the old songs and marrying them with sort of uh, with interaction. With my audience. I cannot go to a program and expect to just sing, let people listen, and go home. I'm the kind of person who, if I go to a show, I would like for the artist to sing a song that I would have liked for him to sing, you know. And it won't be, let's go to a Anup Jalota show and tell him to sing a Pankaj Udhas song. No, no, no. It'll be that you obviously know who you're going to watch. So if it's a song that they have recorded, then ask them, can you please, I would like for you to sing this song. But not everybody has the opportunity to go speak to an artist before a show. So what then tends to happen is you're forced to just sit and listen to whatever they give you, and you go home. Unlike, for what I've done is I've changed that eh, for the last 20 odd years. My style has been, let me go out there, sing, get the audience involved, because I want the audience to be a part of my program. So that is what I've been doing, for focusing on more lately, is getting the audience. And then even during performance, if the audience is not very familiar with the song, I say, right, let me teach you a few lines. Here's the line, I'll sing the line, you repeat it. So then that more interaction then makes them feel as if they are part of the show. So at the end of the day, when they go home, they'll say, hey, did you go for that show? And I want the person to be able to say, yeah, I sang in that show. You know, they must have that feeling as if they were part of that. So that's what I'm trying to focus on now.
Lovely. What has been inspiring your creativity lately? Music, people, experiences, or something completely unexpected?
Well, um, I was saying to you earlier on that technology is here to, it brings us new things all the time. Right? And we are faced with this uh, onslaught of AI right now. So, in terms of what is inspiring me,
Hmm.
like, technology can either do good for you or do bad for you. Technology can either inspire you or de-inspire you, if you get what I'm trying to say. So the de-inspiration I'm getting from AI is to up my game, so that I'm always ahead of AI instead of AI becoming ahead of me. So that's where my D slash inspiration is coming from. Now is that I realize that we are up against an unseen enemy, and the fact is we don't see AI as a physical person. AI is a technology.
Yeah.
It's an app. It's basically electronic media, and we are now having to face a battle against something that we can't see. So the only thing we can do as artists is now make sure that we try and keep ahead of what's going on in AI. And factually speaking, with any technology, really, it depends on what you put in for that technology to give you an output. And what I'm finding here, and the sad irony is that AI is actually reliant on human input to
Mm.
give an output, right? So we are actually destroying ourselves if you think about it.
Yes.
Because
Mm.
if we continue to allow this trend, and unfortunately, it's a snowball effect. Once AI takes over the way it is taking over now, it's gonna be you're gonna put your dog to bark and say to AI, create a song, and eventually, you know, AI is gonna create a song with woof woof woof, and it's gonna take the world by storm. So we are in a situation, unfortunately, where we have to stay ahead of the game. But a very, very good example of how AI is reliant on human input to give an output that is somewhat, sometimes it's a powerful, it's a progressive and a positive outcome, and sometimes it's not, right? But where I'm seeing something that is really, really, really amazing is, I don't know if you remember, there was an artist by the name of Madan Maharaj, right?
Madan
He was an
Maharaj.
old timer back in the day, and
Oh,
he recorded an album called Madan Maraj and his Magic Guitar. And his songs back in the day were biographical, because it was based on en- entirely on true stories from his life. Um, so he was quite well known as as he was a household name, and everybody knew Madan Maraj and his magical guitar. So he was a guitar solo artist most of the time, and he either had one dolak player or somebody to accompany him to give him a beat. But in as much as he never appealed to everybody, but secretly everybody loved his music, you know. But they wouldn't go out in public, you know. It's a very much like how, guys admire other guys too. They'll never say it, you know. They'll never say, hey, Chris Rock got a nice body, I mean, sorry, The Rock has a nice body, or John Cena's got a nice. They'll never say it. Guys will never say that. Girls can compliment each other all the time. So secretly, everybody loved Madan Maharaj. They really, really loved his music. They just couldn't admit it publicly because, they didn't know how other people feel about it. Now, through AI, some friends of mine have recreated Madan Maharaj tracks, and it's absolutely viral. It is absolutely viral. It is fantastic. When I say fantastic, musically speaking, to think that Madan Maharaj may not have been everybody's cup of tea back in the day, but one positive that came out of the technologies that's taking over the world now is that it has given new life to an artist who's now passed away and who'd never be able to ever know what has become of his music. It's now making a comeback. That's why I said music is cyclic. Now it's so cyclic that it's actually you're taking old technology and old recordings and people that have passed away and bringing them back to life. So there's one positivity of this kind of technology.
Wow. Is there a song you've released or performed recently that had a special story behind it?
Almost every song I sing has a special story behind it.
Okay.
Uh, but more of recent, when I say recent, I'm talking about as recent as 4 days back, right? Um, 4 to 5 days back, we had the disaster that took place in Nepal, and really, one song has come to mind um, that basically makes one reflect on what it is that we are. What is our purpose? A lot of people. I mean, when we were in school, we were given a topic to write. We used to do free writing and composition back in the day in school, right? And one topic that we were given once was, "Who am I? Where have I come from? Where am I going to?" And when you look at the grand scheme of things, that disaster in Nepal has opened up the eyes of a lot of people because if you look at the footage of how entire communities were just wiped out within seconds, it makes you wonder when you actually look at your home, your environment, the possessions that you have, the technology that you put into your house, you have cameras, you have a TV, you have a TV in every room, we have all the luxuries we can think of. But do we ever stop to think that if you click your fingers like this, it can all be gone just like that?
Mm.
And this is what has happened in Nepal. So there is one particular bhajan because I'm saying bhajan again. I sing all kinds of songs just for the folks out there to know. I do sing bhajans, ghazals, golden oldies, film songs, kawali. I used to sing chutney songs. There's a lot of call for that now again for me to sing chutney again. Um, but yes, in one particular bhajan, there's some words, right? And I'll sing a few lines for you if I can. वहां से क्या तू लाया बंदे यहाँ से क्या ले जाएगा मुट्ठी बांध के आया जब हाथ पसार के जाए फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे नाम हरि का जपने बंदे फिर पीछे पछताएगा. So what it says, what the author is saying here, is what has been, to answer your question, is there a song that stands out, and is there something that really uh, makes you think, right? So what the author is saying here is, "Vaase kya tulaya bande." You go everywhere and you attach yourself to things. My house, my car, my business, my money, my everything. "Vaase kya tulaya bande." Yahan se kya le jayega. When you leave here, what are you taking with you? Which of those things you're talking about are you going to take with you? A house, your car, your money, your children? Mutti band ke aaya jag mein means simply means mutti band is your fist is closed when you're born as a child. Mutti bandh ke aaya jab, you enter this world with your first closed. And you notice when a baby is born, the first is closed. Mutti bandh ke aaya jag mein, haath pasar ke jayega, when you are leaving this world, you are leaving with your hands open. When a person passes away, you normally see the hands are open. So you come with nothing, you leave with nothing. And because of this, you must also understand that every ounce of respect that you were given while you were alive, people know you were Siddharth Harilal. The moment you take your last breath, even your name is not taken. You don't even take your name when you're going across. You simply become referred to as the body will lie in state. You are no longer referred to by your name. They'll have your name on the top of your poster for your funeral announcement, and they'll say the body will lie in state. Not Siddharth will lie, Kiran will lie in state. No, no. The body will lie in state. So even when you die, you don't even take your own name and go with you. So this is what has been the highlight of my whole experience in the last couple of days. Although I've been singing this for many years and giving the same discourse for many years, but um, especially in the last couple of days since this Nepal disaster, it makes you wonder: with everything that we have, what are we going to take and go when we close our eyes? Simply, the answer is nothing. Absolutely nothing. So this is where
Yeah,
I stand with regard to answering your question.
that's really insightful. What have you learned about yourself as an artist since our previous conversation?
You know, recently I was in India. I went.
Hmm.
I attended the 73rd birthday celebration of my Guruji,
Hmm.
Chiranand Pilota, and I've been to about 5 or 6 of his birthday celebrations. And at each one, you meet a lot of celebrities, a lot of musicians, and a lot of seasoned artists. The likes of Sonu Nigam, his dad, Hari Haran, uh,
Wow.
the daughter of Pankaj Udas, Nayab, she was there. Dr. Jaswinder Narula, she was there, and also artists that we've kind of somewhat forgotten about. The older artists like Suresh Vadkar. You don't normally see them out, anyway. So they were there, and and they quite, these are the legends of the industry. And what I've learned basically about myself is, and as South African musicians who have put in a lot of time in this industry, we sometimes take ourselves or don't value what our contribution is to the industry. Whether it's coming from a point of humility or coming from a point of just honesty with yourself that I really don't know much. Um, some people do know a lot, but choose to be humble about it and say to themselves, "Oh, sorry about that. I'm outside." Yeah. So what I've learned is I've learned to value the value that I put in to my own life, because I noticed that a lot of these artists, some of them have reached the pinnacle of fame. People like Sonu Nigam, but when you talk to them, their feet touch the ground. They're not floating. The humility that comes out, the simplicity that they, nothing elaborate. There's no, I'm the chief, and everybody must respect me because I am who I am.
Mm.
we we tend to think that some of them, yes, they may appear to have an ego sometimes, but unfortunately, when you're out there in public, artists like Sonu Nigam has actually come under physical attacks. He's had people physically attacking him when he goes out in public. You know, so unfortunately, there's things like security and stuff like that that they have to cut down. But I mean, we're not on that league. So what I've learned basically about myself is I need to value my input in my own life, because even though, and I'm speaking personally here, not on behalf of anybody else, in my personal journey, has been one of self-discovery and self-teaching. So when I put what I know, and I've sung in front of these very very big artists, and the appreciation that I got back from them made me then realize that, hang on, I'm not on I'm not on a bad path here. The fact that I've taught myself and I've gotten to where I am, uh, to get an appreciative response from senior artists, that is a major thing. Really, really major thing. One of the things that I've been not picked on, but picked on in a good way, was my pronunciation for being a foreigner. My pronunciation is really good, to a point where I don't actually sing. Now, in India, there's about 5,000 accent dialects.
Mm.
So when a person is singing, the person listening can tell you they're from Bihar, they're from Gujarat, they're from Maharashtra. But when they hear seasoned artists like Anup Jalota, he can sing in such a way you can't tell where he's from, even though he's from Lucknow, but he's also Punjabi. So, but when he sings, there's a neutrality in his accent, in his singing accent, that it is impossible to tell where he's from in India. Like that's how generically good he is in terms of being able to deliver the product. But when he's singing a Gujarati song, he sounds like he's from Gujarat. When he sings a Punjabi song, he sounds like he's from Punjab. You know, but his general singing in Hindi, and because I'm his Shagird, I'm his student, and because he's my guru, I kind of adopted the same kind of thing. But here in South Africa, we don't have this problem with caste and dialect and that kind of thing. So the singing style that I've adopted is a hybrid of all the artists put together. And when I'm singing, like some of them who didn't know I'm not from India, were thinking like, where is this guy from? You know, and that's when I realized, what, I'm not doing too badly for myself. So to answer your question, this journey of self discovery, this is where I am.
Awesome. The music industry is constantly changing. How are you adapting to platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and streaming while still keeping your artistry authentic?
Well, in terms of keeping artistry authentic, I am never indulging in AI. Thank you very much. And whilst the convenience of karaoke is there, I'm avoiding it at all cost. But I may be forced to join that fraternity, simply because there's a shift in the client industry. Those that are wanting to hire now, looking for smaller groups and looking for convenience, and they want something that is compact and doesn't take up too much of space. Now, to go
Mm,
with 4 or 5 musicians, you need a whole lot of space. You need a whole lot of equipment, sound equipment, that kind of thing. And people, customers now, clients now, they are looking for convenience. So they may come a time in the near future where I may have to indulge in the unfortunate art of karaoke. I prefer to have live musicians so that the live musician can also show off the talent that they have in order to be able to deliver. And live music is more exciting, anyways. But how I'm keeping up with the technology, that's one thing I may have to do in the future. I'm also looking to go into instrumental kind of music because I do play santoor and various other instruments. So I'd like to be able to do a setup where I'm going to be using like karaoke tracks to play santoor music, like popular songs on santoor. So that's one thing, and the other thing is like I'm not very social media savvy, so I'm still a Facebook user. Some of my videos are on YouTube, which is actually more. There's more permanence on YouTube because your stuff gets uploaded and it stays there forever. So I'll be updating that quite regularly going forward. Um, but the new thing now, when I say new for me, I'm kind of like this is so last before year for a lot of people. TikTok, TikTok is the way to go now, and I'm currently looking into moving into TikTok as the mainstream way of marketing myself and the business that I do. Speaking of the business, actually, I am into repairing and restoration of harmoniums. It's
Mhm.
a specialty of mine. There's nobody else that does it on the level that I'm doing it. I'm getting all the parts and stuff from India, and that's one of the things that I would want to start marketing on TikTok with my music. So in the near future, you'll be seeing me on TikTok once I learn how to do it.
Lovely. Have you experienced a particular performance or audience reaction recently that reminded you why you chose music in the first place?
You know, like I said to you, I can't go to a show, sit,
Mhm,
listen, go home.
mhm,
And this is the reason why I don't allow my audience to just come to my show, sit, listen,
mhm,
and go home. I, when they are when they arrive, they are arriving to see me. When they want to see me, listen to my performance and enjoy. Part of that enjoyment is to make them part of my show. So I always encourage my audience, get involved, sing, clap. I'll even simplify the song down to a point where I can make them, I'll teach them the line. Yeah, sing this line like this. And get to a point where I sing up to that point, and where their part comes in, I stop and let them sing that part. So the interaction is there. And because of that habit that I've formed is now habitual everywhere I go, whether it's a bhajan program or a show where we're doing various items, various genre items, I do the same kind of thing. So it's not something that's recent for me, but it's something that's been ongoing, and it's something that has become my signature way of performing. Is that I basically can't survive without my audience being a part of the show. They have to be a part of the show.
Looking ahead, what is the next major milestone you're hoping to achieve in your music career?
Next major milestone um, was meant to be an industry secret until it actually happened. But I'm happy to say that there are plans in place, and my Guruji, um, Anup Jalota, and I will be doing a show together um, in South Africa. We we are in talks about it, and it's going to be a completely South African show where even the musicians backing him will be from South Africa. My crew of musicians, um, and it'll be the first of its kind in the world where Anupji will be singing with a student of his in a foreign country. He's done a few shows in his time with students of his own in India, but this has never been done outside India. So it'll be
Wow.
the first time, and it'll be a sort of 50-50 content where he will sing and I will sing and he will sing. It won't be his show and I sing two items. It'll be
Mm.
our show together, and that's in the pipeline. So when it happens, it'll happen. People will know about it. We'll market it, and we'll invite everybody to be a part of it. The plan is to try and take Anuji to those that are unable to really afford to attend these shows ordinarily. You know, whenever it comes to South Africa, promoters always make things uh, commercial. You have to buy tickets and go to a venue that is. So it costs for a family of four to spend 300 rand per ticket. That's
Mm.
1,200 rand. Then you got fuel. Then you got parking fees. Then when you get to the venue, then the kids want to eat something, and that kind of thing. So what we plan to do is for those that are unable to afford to attend these shows ordinarily, we're trying to have a this particular concert, where it allows those that are unable to afford to attend the show free of charge. That's
Wow.
that's our. So we are looking for sponsors to help to cover the costs of bringing the artists from overseas. Um, so if there's anyone out there willing to help us, get in touch and let us know. That's the big plan.
Awesome. All right, I'll get to my final question and then I'll get to the comments here.
Mm.
If we had this conversation again a year from now, what would you love to be able to tell us has happened in your journey?
Well, I'd love to be able to tell you a year from now would be August, September. A year from now, I'd love to be able to tell you, been there, done that. You know, in terms of my big plan for this show with energy, and also some international travel. The other thing that we are have in the pipeline is that you I don't know if you remember this, but in the early days of Radio Lotus, when it first
Mhm.
started, the only music really available, and a lot of people don't know this, the only music that we really had available to us were uh, LPs, vinyl records. But these vinyl records, they were not allowed to be marketed and sold or brought into South Africa legally because the apartheid government, they didn't understand um, the language. So for them, they didn't allow us to import our music into South Africa because they thought that it may have been filled um, with ideas
Tape.
to
Oh.
overthrow the government, you know,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. So a lot of the music that we had back in the day that was given to Lotus was music that was actually smuggled into South Africa, you know, through businesses that used to bring saris and Punjabis and all. They used to smuggle these in inside the saris and bring them to South Africa. So one very prominent businessman brought these albums and came and he gave it to Lotus and said, "Hey, play this," you know. So Lotus used to broadcast for 1 hour a day only before they became 24 hours and before they became, a national broadcaster. So in the early days, most of the albums this person used to bring in were all ghazal artists. Talat Aziz, Pankaj Udas, Ghulam Ali, Anup Jalota, Jagjit Singh, that kind of thing. So in that 80s, 70s, and 80s, or 80s, whenever it is that Lotus started, the there was a huge appreciation for ghazal music. And I told you, music is cyclic. So
Hmm.
what we are doing now, what we're currently working on, is on reviving the appreciation for ghazals and bringing that back. So in India, every year in July, there's a festival called Khazana, which is a ghazal festival, and all of the top artists gather and it's in aid of the Cancer Association. So whatever money is generated is given to the Cancer Association from that event. But it's a musical feast. And honestly, if you went to one of those things as a musician and died there, you'll go straight to heaven because it's like having all the musical gods in one place, you know. And I've been to about 4 or 5 of them already, and I can tell you it is amazing. So Kazana is now they just celebrated their 25th year in Bombay. So I've been in talks with the major artists that were involved and it was Pankaj Udas, Talat Aziz, and Anup Jalota that started Khazana. So I'm close to Anupji, so I spoke to him and I spoke to Talat Aziz. Pankaj Udas now late, but I have spoken to them and I said to them, I would like to launch Khazana Durban so that we have the same kind of event here and start reviving Ghazal culture, and they are 100% behind me. So this is the other plan that we have is to start the we want to start Ghazal clubs basically. So Ghazal clubbing, if you want to call it, you know. So that's the other big plan that we have for the future, near future.
Beautiful. All right, I'll get to the comments here. This is from Rish Chitan. Hi, Kiran. I always turned into your music from years back. Thank you for entertaining us. Have you ever thought of doing a fusion with Western artists?
I have actually done a fusion with C4 hot sticks. You remember the C4 hot sticks?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read here. Okay, I don't know who the comments from, right? Because you broke
Rish
up.
Chitan. Rish Chitan.
Okay, right. Thanks for that question. Yeah, I have a few years ago. I played at the Cape Town Jazz Festival, 2018 actually it was the Cape Town Jazz Festival, and I was part of a very big group called the Liberation Project. As about 12 musicians or so, and Sipo Hot Sticks. everybody remembers Super Hot Sticks, who sang the song Burnout. He was part of our crew. So I was the only Indian musician there, playing in that group of fabulous, fabulously trained musicians. It was excellent. But yes, I do hear where you're coming from, Resh, and I would like to be able to do more work like that if the opportunity came by. But the thing is, it's hard for us as Indian musicians to to get this kind of work, because it's only when somebody needs, like a Western group needs somebody like us, that they will. Back in the day, we had Pandit Ravi Shankar, who got snapped up at the Beatles, and they formed that collaboration, and it worked wonderfully. You know, so yeah, I would love to be able to do more work in with the Western musicians as well. And thanks for
All right, there are
following.
two comments here. Okay, all right. There are two comments here. This is from Amit Subram 3774. This comment
Yeah,
is
Amit.
a pure-hearted musician. Yeah, yeah, yeah. His first comment here is a pure-hearted musician maestro. I I agree fully when it comes to using authentic instrumentation for bhajans. It gives a different feeling altogether. And then I'll get to his next comment, which is oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, it is. It says, yeah, Kiran G is an inspiration to many. I have always admired him and his music playing now. I'm blessed to say my boys hold him dear to their music as well. He has inspired them.
Yeah, he's Amit's two boys are so talented. You know, one of the mottos I've had when I was their age, and I was wanting to learn. I told you I was self-taught, right? So self-teaching meant watching others, trying to imitate that, come home, learn something, learn from what you've seen. And whenever I approached people back in the day during my journey, and as a certain, not everybody, but some people, they were really, really nasty. One of the people that I've encountered in my life was actually a neighbor, um, who said to me, "You must give this up because you'll never amount to anything in music. This is not for you." I was 16 years old. He said that to me, and it was the very start of my musical journey. When somebody tells you this, had I listened to him and gave it up, then where would I be today? We wouldn't be having this conversation today. So this is the reason why, if you look at the kids of today, like Amit Subrim's two boys, so much of talent. I can't sit back and just say, no, I'm not going to help. You know. So wherever I see anyone that needs help musically, even with my students and stuff like that, whatever is in here, I want it to come out. If it were physically possible for me to pull out this chip and give it to them and say, yeah, you can have this from my side, I would do it. I don't have children of my own. So this is the reason why I'm ever willing to part with the knowledge that I have rather than hold it in. Because, like I said, no, phir piche pachatayega. Why look back with regret? The day you die, you take everything and go with you that you have inside. But outside you, nothing goes. So whatever's in here, I would love to be able to give. I have one student now, Kiara, who's learning very well. So I'm hoping that she takes over from me after this.
Beautiful. All right,
Mhm.
I'll just get to the last two comments. There's a person here that just gives you a heart. This is from Supreme Fisherman. And then there's one more here. This is from Princess Magnifico 501 that just says hello to you.
Right. Hi.
Yeah, yeah.
Magnifique.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's pretty much, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, hey. So thanks so much for your time, Kieran.
No, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. It's been great chatting with you after all this time. And hopefully, yeah, in a year from now, we have a catch up again. Maybe even before
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because I was just gonna pitch to you since you are doing the show with Anup. Maybe we should do a teaser chat on that if you're open to that.
As soon as I have him with me, I'll give you a ring. We can do something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Thank you very much. Take care. Thanks everybody for tuning in.